Howdy, mates. Good afternoon. How are we all doing? I hope you're doing well. It's always something I forget to say. Either way, it is Tuesday, September 5th, 2023, and I'm exploring a new portion of Iowa that I have not seen before until today. I'm over by Cedar Rapids. And in particular, I'm at a well-known historic site that is near the city. We're over at the Usher's Ferry Historical Village, named after the Usher family, one of the first pioneer families that settled in this area back in the early 1800s. You're talking probably around the 1830s, give or take. You gotta imagine how back then life was very much different than how it is today. I think this is just a bit of a sarcastic comment on my part, but you could say back then they really knew the concept of delayed gratification a bit more. I'm sure some of you can understand exactly why. Things took longer to accomplish, whether that was traveling or chores, you name it. Tasks in general took more time. But anyway, what I'm trying to point out in this video is, even though this is called a historical village, most of these buildings that I'll make a more detailed post about with my images, most of these facilities were relocated over here. And some different examples include general stores that you can see over here. You've also got a saloon, a hotel that I just walked by. You've also got two individual homesteads that have Czech origin, Czech as in Czechoslovakia. You've also got the telephone house. So these are just a couple of different examples. But really, what they try to do here is to educate visitors on the different buildings that served different purposes. And these different buildings and their functions, they were really what set the milestone for what we call township governments that were exercised back then. And when I say township governments, it's essentially how a society in a particular section was, for lack of a better term, civilized. This is prior to when a region obtained statehood. Now, the way how these townships were established was having your basics: general store, a police station, a telephone station, because back then you actually had an operator at the time. But you figure the way how the grid system is set up, whether it, in terms of the counties, and then it goes down further into townships, and the square mileage, which was usually around 6 square miles, you figure that particular grid system was highly incorporated by who we know as Thomas Jefferson. After he partook in the Louisiana Purchase, which basically ran all the way from the East Coast to the Mississippi River towards the west, he needed to come up with a system that would allow organization for all of this new land. And you gotta admit, the way how he decided to have it arranged, he was actually quite of a genius, if you think about it. You know, he came up with those ideas of using townships, counties, and whatnot. So he was quite ahead of his time. And basically some of those measures that he took are still used to this day. This is now, of course, on a much grander scale than what it was back then. So, really, what I'm trying to say is this is a great area to visit for those of you who have an interest in really learning how settlements became a bit more organized. Because really it was, especially in the Midwest, where much of that organization took a stronghold. I mean, granted, it was already present in the East Coast, but as further expansion in this country occurred, it was really in the Midwest where there was a bit more precision, as it were. So, alright, you guys, have a good one. Enjoy your Tuesday, and of course, the journey on a journey is outwards. Take care, folks. See ya.